Good morning everybody, we are cracking on again with the E30 now. Last night I actually started cracking on and doing the inside, so as you know the inside, although it's been painted and it's been primed inside, it's been sat outside for quite a while, so it was getting like quite a lot of, I don't want to say rust, but a lot of surface rust and stuff over, well I'm not sure how because it's all been primed, but it was getting a little bit wet and it started getting a bit rusty. So last night Dartford Bridge was actually closed, which is obviously a very, very busy bridge down in Essex in London, and it was chaos for hours. So crazy. Decided to walk to Halfords because I couldn't drive there. It was literally like standstill everywhere. And I got some paint and some sandpaper and blah blah blah, and I actually did most of the inside. So yeah, we was meant to be going home, but the Dartford Bridge is shut because there's a storm going on. We ain't going here for a good 4 hours, I reckon. So we've got time. Let's start cleaning up the E30. So I've just hoovered up in here. This is how we kind of left it. We've got another hole here to mend, but I'm just going to paint up to that hole and then we can fix that hole after. So we're going to X-primer the whole of the floor in here, and then we're just going to rattle can it. And then we're going to rattle can it gunmetal grey. So we need to start a kind of, we'll give it a quick little sand up with some Scotch-Brite pads thing, and just to rough it off, and then we've got some etch primer, so we'll just put the whole floor in etch primer. Let's primer it all, and I've already done the other side, and I'm excited to see what it looks like all primered up. So I've already wire wheeled it all we've got to do is just rough it up, and then put some primer down. So I've got some etch primer here, hopefully just to kind of fill in the sanding marks that we've done, you know. What it looks like now inside, so it's miles better. There's bits here that looks like rust, but it's just sanding marks from, obviously I did the cage, I started doing the cage. There's no point going to be doing the roof because we're going to be cutting the roof off because we've got a Kevlar roof there. So I was just sanding all the bits of the cage, and it was actually quite rusty underneath, so all the orange dust, especially over there in the corner, is literally just from that. So it looks 10 times better. We still need to do the firewall and stuff. There's a couple of little places which I just need to put a couple of plates, but yeah, we did all the back there. That was looking horrible, and then we did all the back bit here as well. So remember, that was all like super dirty and full of rust and stuff, so it looks 10 times better. We just still got to do the cage, but we're probably going to do that today. I have ordered the gearbox, sorry, the engine mount brackets, which are here. So these will convert the engine mounts on the LS to use a BMW engine mount, which we have got an order from Powerflex. Look at them. So the idea is they'll bolt onto the engine somehow. I thought they'd be like, oh yeah, like that. And then you've got two options of how to run the engine mount. You can either run it from the front, or you can put it through the back. So that'd be better for, like, obviously if you're racing, you want better weight distribution. That's for that. So you can sit the engine further back against the car, so you've not got so much front weight. But to sit them on the back one, you've got to kind of do a little bit of adjustment. So I can't remember what it is, but it says on the website, but you've got to do some modification if you want. I think it's to the firewall, so you've got to modify the firewall if you want it sitting back. We're not too bothered about that. I'm not competing, and I'm not that good of a driver to notice. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the original engine mounts, which are up here, boom boom, hopefully we can get to them with all the cats on and everything, and we're going to put these on because our Powerflex engine mounts are going to be here very soon. I'm hoping this isn't going to be too difficult to get these off. I think they're a 14. I already can't get my socket on two of them. It's not ideal. Oh, there is a big ground here. I need to think about that. Has it got a bolt for the ground on there? No. Right, there was a big ground. Is it part? Yeah, part of the engine mount. So this one's got its own grounds to. Oh, fuck no. Yeah, how the hell? I'm gonna have to take the engine mount off before I actually get the bracket off, because I can't get two of the bolts. One nut, and it looks like a spanner. Let's hope. Right. Oh, look at that big spider there. Are we on it? Is it 17? It's a 17. Ready? Fucking yeet. Okay, the bolt for the actual 17mm nut was talk to the camera. 17mm nut was literally just rounding, and I couldn't get it off. So luckily, with a wobble head, flexi head, and a little bit of weird leg movement,
Doesn't make sense, but it does to me. I actually managed to get the 14mm bolts off, so the whole engine mount will come off with that on now, which is good news. I was getting a little bit worried then because the 17mm spanner was just rounding the hell out of it. This last bolt's a bit fiddly. I've got it a hand loose, and I think it's going to come. I've got to keep wiggling it because it keeps getting stuck. I should take this bolt out first, really. I've got to keep wiggling it so it keeps. They're so long as well, these bolts. Oh my god, it's so annoying. Oh, my arm's killing. Why did they... It's still unthreading. Right, so there's the engine mount. Well, that bolts onto the engine. This will bolt onto the engine. Sorry, that way. And then we've got that, which will fit a BMW E36 engine mount. So let's just see which way these go on. Oh. That's the thing, which way does it go on? Does it say? Because one's going to be pointing really far back, and one's going to be pointing really far forward. So do we want it back in the car, or do we want it... I wish... they've got to say, surely, right? I honestly have no idea. That's sitting the engine way far forward. I think they're going to go that way. We're going to put one this way, because then this is pointing forward as well. I have the logo facing the front of the engine so you can see it. So we're going to go this way. If it's not, we're going to have to change it. These bolts, I've obviously just reused the same bolts, and they're too short. Sorry, they're too long, because the gap on the... wait, are they? I'm getting as tight as I can, and they're still loose. So we're going to have to get some shorter bolts, or I'll have to just cut these down. I'm just not sure if it's a weird thread because Jap stuff. So we're going to take them all off and find some new bolts. It really pisses me off that, like, you spend so much time, or you just end up just taking a grinder to things because nothing's fought through. Like, they've put a socket on here, right, they've put a nut, and you can only just get a spanner on. And it's so tight that it's literally just rounding it. It's just rounding it. I can't get it off. And I can't get the last 40mm because they've put it behind the engine mount. Again, stuck for hours because I can't get this one bolt off here. I can't get this bolt off, this in the way. And I can't get this off because this won't come off. I've heated the living shit out of it and it's just rounding. That's just rounding. And this is just slipping off because I can't get the right angle on it. One single bolt, honestly. It's like a reoccurring theme with this car, this. So you can't get the engine mount off because they've just used one nut on a stupid socket, and obviously it's going to round it if you put it that tight trying to use a spanner. And then you can't get the 14mm off because they've tucked it behind. It's so annoying. I managed to get the other one off with like a load of wobble heads and stuff, but I'm really struggling with this one. They put them so tight as well that you can't get anything else other than a breaker bar on it. It's just like, if you're putting things that tight that it's got to get a breaker bar, give good access. Like, I just don't understand why it's so difficult to do, apparently. So I can't get this 114mm out. So now I'm going to have to just literally just feel like resolving to a grinder all the time. Okay, after many swear words, Ronnie helped, and he's got us the perfect spanner. So I had to put a stud remover on it to give me the right length. And then with the stud remover, this spanner, and then I've got it. Shout out to stud removers though. I've got it. Bastard, bastard, bastard. Let's go and grind these 4 bolts down. Well, let's get this last one on. Right, so the engine mounts are on. Now I pray to fucking God that they are the right way around, because if they're not the right way around and they've no instructions in the box of which way to put them, I'm going to be extremely, extremely angry. I think while the engine's out the car, I'm going to send the guys a message on eBay who I bought them off, just to clarify which way they go around. I'll still be angry, but I'll be less angry if it's on the floor when it's in the car. One more thing that we have to do to the engine before we can actually put it in the car, and that's just make the EGR blanks, because we've actually took off the EGR valves. I've watched some videos on YouTube and they're really bad on this in terms of sucking shit through the engine, so we're going to blank it off. This here is the main EGR bit which goes into the inlet, and as you can see we've actually got the gasket here, so what we can do is we can literally just trace around that, make some metal, use the gasket, just put a piece of metal over the top
So we've got some sheet metal here, which we're going to make some of. And then we've got one at the back of the inlet, and then we've got one in the exhaust as well, which we've got to make. So here is some sheet metal. We're going to get the old gasket. We're going to use the edge, because it's a lot easier. We're just going to trace around this gasket, and we know where to cut. We don't have to make it perfect in terms of like the circles. We can just literally do it like that. But obviously we need to be careful because it might hit the edge of the inlet. So I'm going to trace around where it needs to be, and then just start easy, and then if it doesn't fit, we'll just take some more off. Just like that. So we're going to cut down here. We're going to make a square, drill the holes, and then go from there. Right, so here's the old gasket, so that's going to slide on there, and then this is the plate I've made. Again, it's not perfect, but boom, just going to sit like that, and that's one of our EGRs done. I didn't actually have to take much off at all. I've just curved it off the edges to make it look a little bit better, and I've just ground it down a little bit so it looks a bit better. We will have to paint this because obviously it's not stainless, so, but that's pretty much it really. So that's that one done. We've got to make one here, which might be a little bit trickier because it's in a tighter bit, and I've not got a gasket for this, so I'm gonna have to just like probably get a bit of cardboard and just push it in. One thing which we need to note as well is that this is the stock one, and it's got the PCV valve here. So the PCV valve goes from the rocker cover, and it will go into the EGR or the inlet. Now, the good thing about this is that what that's going to do, it's going to create a vacuum, and it's going to suck all the shit fumes out the valve cover. So that's why you have a PCV valve. But my idea initially was to put a filter on, but then I heard bad things about doing that. So I asked Ronnie, and Ronnie said, well, this is going to be sat on the limiter the whole time. So it is bad to just run a filter off the PCV valve, because it's not going to create a vacuum to pull the shit out the engine. But once it's going to be sitting at, you know, on the limiter all the time, that's going to create its own vacuum, and it's going to push the shit out. So although if this car was going to be driving on the road, this would be a really bad idea. But for this purpose, and to make it easier, we don't need to, you know, make a valve into here. We can just put a filter, blank it off. But this one there, all we're going to do is get a piece of paper and just push it around the gasket, and that's just going to make like a little mark. And then we could put that in the metal, draw around it, and then cut it out the metal. So I can happily say that we are now EGR blanked. I feel horrendous, and I really didn't want to keep going doing that. But I said to myself, stop being a pussy, get some MTFU, which is come man the fuck up, finish the EGR blank. So I've finished the EGR blank. We got this one here, which I had to use a fair bit of washers, just so I couldn't find a bolt that's small enough, but it is what it is, it's fine. That one there, we got this one here, which luckily is just like normal thread nuts. So that one's for the exhaust. That's got a metal gasket. Steve actually had a metal gasket lying around for this as well. I wish I had a little bit more material on the bottom here, just because the gasket's showing a little bit, but I have looked inside and there isn't a gap, so it should be okay. I can't be asked making a new one, but that's tight, and there isn't actually a gap between the metal and the gasket. It's close, I'm not gonna lie. And then same story for this one here. So the studs were like way too long. There was no thread on the studs, so I didn't have any big enough washers. So I just used four bigger nuts. If it works, guys. Later on down the line, I'll probably make something a little bit prettier once I can be arsed. But right now, it's on its EGR blanked. All we got to do is just run a coolant line from here to this one here. Run it. A lot of people blank them, so you can blank it there and blank it there. That's what the JDM ones have, which don't have EGR. They've got blanks on. But what happened before is that the coolant just ran through the EGR valve and back down there. So I'm just going to keep it one system and just put a line from there to there, mainly just because it's easier, to be honest. So I'm going to end this video here. In the next episode, we're going to be putting the engine in the car. We've actually got the PowerFlex mounts here. So we've got the engine mounts, which they've sent me the Black Series. So we're going to have the Black Series engine mounts. I can buy it's idling. I'm joking, they're not that bad. These are E30 engine mounts, and they should fit on our stupid, not stupid, hopefully not. They should fit on our engine mount brackets. Not gonna lie, I've put that bolt through and it doesn't fit. I'm gonna have to drill the bolt out a little bit. It probably will if I push it, but I don't want to ruin the threads on these. So I might just drill them out a little bit, but like, I don't know, I'm not that happy with them, to be fair. So I might message him about that as well. I'm like, why does the bolt not fit? It's like really tight. If I push up, it probably will go in, but it's going to ruin the threads. Maybe it's meant to be that tight. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. But cheers, huge thank you to Powerflex. They were really the only ones I wanted to go with, to be honest. So they're E36 engine mounts, and then they've actually sent me as well. Thank you guys. Some like universal gearbox mounts, just like some pillows. So we'll use them to make our gearbox mount, whatever we're going to do with that. So I'm going to end this video here because I'm so ill and I've just definitely made it worse by doing all this, but I have to get this done because in the next video I want this car in this, I want this engine in this car, man. We're going to start turning up the unit soon as well. The green light focus is going to be gone, the Reliant is going to be put there, and then I've got just a big workspace at the front here. But it's another day. I do want to do something with the floor actually as well. I'm not quite sure what though. So I love you all, and we'll see you in the next one.